Okay, this PowerPoint presentation is about using context clues to identify words that you are unfamiliar with while reading. And this comes from your textbook in Chapter 1, Making Reading Real. Okay, and this covers Learning Objective 1, which is examine how educated guessing and shortcuts can improve reading efficiency, and Learning Objective 2, use context clues to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words. Learning Objective 1 refers to how when you're reading, you should really try guessing words you don't know, as opposed to looking up every word in the dictionary. Now, there certainly is a balance here. You want to be reading something that has most of the words you know, and maybe a few words you don't know. A good rule of thumb is the 5-finger rule, where if you look at one page, and if you don't know more than 5 words, it might be too hard. But if you don't know about 4 or 5 words, that might be a good text for you to read to help improve your vocabulary. In these instances, what you can do is you can use context and decoding skills. Decoding skills refers to just sounding out the word, because sometimes when you just say the word aloud and sound it out, you realize that you do know it, but you just didn't know it in print. What I'm going to focus more on is using context clues to figure out words that you don't know even after you sound it out. And that refers to Learning Objective 2. Use context clues to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words. Context clues are hints or any kind of clue within the text to help you identify those words that you don't know. So it is important that you know a good amount of the words. Otherwise, if you don't know too many, the guessing won't really happen as well. Okay? A lot of authors use 4 types of context clues. One is synonyms and definitions, another one is antonyms, another one is examples, and the last one is experience, prior knowledge, and perception. And I'm going to go through each 4 in a little more detail. Synonyms and definitions are words that mean the same thing as the unfamiliar word. So sometimes the author will put in the sentence a word that means the same thing as the unknown word. For example, some students prefer a pragmatic approach to learning. They may learn better with practical assignments rather than theories. So, in reading this sentence, you can see that the author put the synonym of pragmatic in the second sentence there to help you identify what pragmatic really is. And in this case, pragmatic is a synonym for practical. So authors may do this sometimes, and this will help to build some vocabulary. In addition, authors may use antonyms in their sentences to help readers identify some higher level vocabulary. In this instance, they may use some signal words like as opposed to, in contrast to, while, on the other hand, but, and so on. So here's an example. Fred keeps to himself most of the time, but Enrique, on the other hand, is quite gregarious. So if you look here, there's a clue. It says, on the other hand. What that is that's cluing your brain in to Enrique being the opposite of Fred. And if you read this sentence, Fred keeps to himself most of the time. Therefore, Enrique must not keep to himself, which would make Enrique sociable. So in this sentence, there is an antonym context clue. Authors may use examples. In this instance, what they may do is they may give you an unfamiliar word or a higher level word, and then they'll give you examples of what that word may look like. So here's a sentence for you. You can demonstrate academic integrity by doing your own assignments, using appropriate citations and research papers, and keeping your eyes on your own exams. Now in this sentence, the key word here is integrity that we're trying to figure out. And if we look at the sentence, there are examples of what integrity is. It has doing your own assignments, using appropriate citations and research papers, and keeping your eyes on your own exams. These 3 things are examples of students being honest. Therefore, integrity would be honest. Now, experience, prior knowledge, and perception context clues are probably the most complicated. What this refers to is that you bring your own knowledge, you bring your own experiences and the way you see things to what you're reading. So when you're reading something, sometimes you can just figure out the word because you put yourself in that situation. For example, the sentence here says it is imperative that he find a parking spot if he expects to get to class on time. So we can think back to our experiences of trying to find a parking spot when it's a very crowded parking lot. In addition, we can relate to trying to be somewhere on time in a situation like this. So in this situation, we know that it is imperative to find a parking spot, therefore important to find a spot because we're running low on time. So what we're doing here is we're using our life experiences to help us identify words. So in this case, imperative would be important.